Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nightcomb site. The House of Representatives has dismissed claims that some federal lawmakers demanded bribes from vice-chancellors of federal universities to approve their 2025 budget allocations. Describing the report as false and misleading, a statement issued by the spokesman for the House, Akin Rotimi, says the publication was a deliberate attempt to tarnish the reputation of the legislature. Rotimi explained that the budget process follows a constitutionally guided and transparent procedure, emphasizing that the 2025 appropriation bill was presented by President Bola Tinubu before a joint session of the National Assembly in the presence of key government officials and the public. The Federal High Court in Ado-Ekiti has struck out the defamation suit filed by the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, against activist lawyer Dele Farotimi over alleged cybercrime. The case, which stemmed from comments made by Farotimi in an interview about his book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System, particularly concerning its founder, the founder of Afe Babalola University, Ado-Ekiti, Are Afe Babalola, was formally withdrawn in court. At the hearing, counsel for the complaint, Samson Oshobu, informed the court that the prosecution had filed a notice of discontinuance. Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, has flagged off the 5th edition of the Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum in Maiduguri, Borno State capital. Governors from the northeast region of Nigeria and those from the Lake Chad Basin countries of Niger, Cameroon and Chad are attending the forum under the Northeast Development Commission. Global Television's correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that the forum is being hosted by the Yobe state government.
The 5th edition of the Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum is meant to address the shared challenges that transcend borders through rebuilding the Lake Chad Basin, consolidating gains, commitment to peace, security and sustainable development across the Lake Chad Basin. According to the Nigeria's Vice President, the federal government under President Bola Tinubu has remained consistent in improving regional collaboration across the Lake Chad region.
This is the challenge before us, to transform the demographic dividend into a force for good. Power's true essence lies not just in its possession, but in its application. Hard power may secure borders, but it is soft power through diplomacy, culture, and shared values that builds bridges and binds us together. This is the vision that the Lake Chad Governors Forum seeks to pursue, whether through our collective commitment to the African Continental Free Trade Area or our contributions to advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We must adopt partnerships that benefit us all. The choices we make today will echo through generations, shaping the future of this region. What binds us together supersedes whatever that divides us.
Shettima urged member states of the basin to collectively face their common enemy without necessarily considering their political differences.
Element to what we can achieve collectively. Its localization through the territorial action plans highlights the importance of ownership and inclusion in our civilization efforts. Yobe State has directly benefited from the regional strategy for civilization, recovery and resilience framework through infrastructure rehabilitation, livelihood restoration and community cohesion projects. This reinforces the critical need for continued partnerships and innovative resource mobilization to amplify these successes.
Finally, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to all Excellencies, Royal Highnesses that are here, and other distinguished guests and personalities who have honored us with their presence today. It is truly a privilege to share this historic occasion with you, and I'm confident that through your collective efforts, we will continue to build a brighter, more resilient future for the people of the Lake Chad region. Once again, thank you all for your invaluable support. May Allah bless all of us and guide our efforts towards lasting peace and stability.
In collaboration with national, regional and institutions, the Northeast is committing huge sum of resources in rebuilding the region hitherto affected by insurgencies and economic disturbances.
The Lake Chad region has been severely threatened by a number of challenges within the last couple of years. Expert believes that member states are holding the key to combating the threats. However, within the next 3 days, these governors and other concerned stakeholders will brainstorm on various ways to improving peace and security as well as economic development of the region. From Maiduguri, Idris Jibrin reporting for Global Television News.
The All Progressives Congress (APC) has blasted former Vice President Atiku Abubakar over his allegation that President Bola Tinubu's administration paid 50 million naira bribe to opposition parties to weaken their leadership ahead of the 2027 election. The opposition parties, however, denied receiving such inducement from the Tinubu government. The opposition parties, which included the People's Democratic Party, New Nigeria People's Party, Labour Party, and Social Democratic Party, debunked the allegations in separate interviews. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission has said that the federal government is ready to welcome deported Nigerians from the United States. The Director of Media and Corporation Affairs of the Commission, Abdulrahman Balogun, in an interview, says the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is in charge of such development. He stated further that the federal government had already set up an inter-agency committee to handle the matter should Nigerians be deported from the U.S. The federal government says it deported 828 illegal immigrants in 2024 as part of its intensified efforts to combat irregular migration and enhance national security. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, disclosed this at a media party in Abuja. Highlighting government achievement, the minister stated that in the last 1 year, 137 victims of trafficking were intercepted, and in 2024, 828 foreigners were repatriated by the Nigerian Immigration Service. Ogun State High Court in Abeokuta has nullified the installation of Alexander McGregor as the Olu of Ilawo, declaring the process as illegal and ordered him to cease parading himself as the monarch. Justice Olatokunbo Majekodunmi, who delivered the ruling, condemned Ogun State government for proceeding with McGregor's installation despite pending court cases, describing the act as a blatant disregard for judicial authority. The court's decision followed the suit filed by the Ogunsanya Ariku royal family of Ilawo, which contested the nomination process that led to McGregor's installation. Meanwhile, the Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Bimbola Owode, has ordered the immediate dissolution of an unauthorized coronation committee allegedly set up by a group of individuals without his approval. In a statement in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, the monarch warned that further meetings or activities related to the committee would be considered illegal and will not be tolerated. Oba Owode emphasized that any committee or event related to his coronation must receive prior approval from his office. Benue State government has launched a 5-year action plan on durable solutions aimed at providing humanitarian response to internally displaced persons across the state. Governor Hyacinth Alia, at the launch of Action Plan, thanked the federal government as well as international partners for their unwavering support in alleviating the plight of vulnerable people, including displaced persons.
Statistics from the International Office for Migration have indicated that Benue State currently has over 500,000 internally displaced persons, a situation that has created humanitarian concern for the displaced persons and their host communities. The launch of the 5-year action plan on durable solutions is aimed at addressing short and long-term challenges of this category of people, including returning them to their ancestral homes. The state governor, Hyacinth Alia, disclosed that 10% of the state budget has been set aside for the implementation of the action plan, and he commended the support of the international community and the federal government in cushioning the plight of the IDPs. The governor, who solicited support from donor agencies and government, thanked members of the committee for coming up with an inclusive document for vulnerable people in Benue State.
Your esteemed presence here today reaffirms the invaluable and promising partnership between the government of Benue State and the international community in addressing the pressing needs of our internally displaced persons and paving the way for lasting solutions and a brighter future for our state.
Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Professor Nemtawi Yewada, while acknowledging the passion of the state government in addressing challenges of displaced persons, said that the federal government will support the initiative with 500 hectares of land as well as input.
You will cultivate 500 hectares of land, 2 households per hectare, making 1,000 households to benefit from the 500 hectares of land. They will be given seeds, they will be given farm inputs. 30% of the land, but 30% of the farm will be given to the locals. That's the host community. 70% will be given to the IDPs.
For the international partners, they are committed to the implementation of the plan. This is coming after the government had given 280 hectares cluster farmlands for internally displaced persons to build resilience and promote self-sustainability. In Makudi, Felicity Ndere reporting for Global TV News.
A Nigerian medical professional, Dr. Chinonso Ikemba, popularly known as Aproko Doctor on social media, has raised concerns over the country's healthcare system following the reported pause in the United States funding to the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief. In a post via X, he warned that Nigeria cannot continue to rely on donations for its healthcare needs. With the pause in U.S. foreign aid, he also noted that Nigeria may witness a rise in HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria infections. The federal government has launched the Maternal and Neonatal Mortality Reduction Innovation Initiative in Kano to address the alarming rate of maternal and neonatal mortality in the country. Speaking at the launch, Professor Muhammad Ali Pati, Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, represented by Dr. Ashiru Adamu Abubakar, emphasized the importance of the initiative in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive to tackle maternal and child mortality. Dr. Dayo Adeyanju, the national coordinator of the initiative, stated that Nigeria accounts for 20% of the global burden of maternal and child mortality, with Kano State being the most affected. He noted that the initiative will focus on improving access to quality healthcare facilities, transportation for pregnant women, upgrading care centers, and training healthcare workers. Governor Basi Otu of Cross River State has disclosed that no part of the state's territory will be surrendered to neighboring states. In recent times, there have been severe issues in the state, including border skirmishes and invasions of influxes of strange men, reportedly from the Sahelian region, in the guise of minors. Speaking with the Elders Forum in his state, which called on him, Otu disclosed that the state has deployed a number of drones to monitor boundaries of the state, saying the action is aimed at safeguarding the state's territorial integrity. Tensions flared at the Federal High Court in Abuja as protesters under the End Bad Governance movement accused security forces of intimidation while demanding the immediate release of activist and journalist Omoyele Sowore. Amid heavy police presence, a protester expressed frustration over what he described as misplaced priorities by the authorities. The demonstrators insisted that Sowore, who has been detained, should either be brought before the court immediately or released if no formal charges had been filed against him. You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you from the nation's capital, Abuja. When News Cycle returns, Trump offers millions of federal workers 8 months' pay to resign. We'll bring you details of this as well as business and sports stories right after the break. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. In business, President Bola Tinubu has secured $70 million from the International Finance Corporation, IFC, as funding for the mini-grid project. The president secured the fund at the Africa Energy Summit, which ended on Tuesday in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The fund is part of a $1 billion facility set up by the corporation through grants from the Rockefeller Foundation and the African Development Bank. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has announced that despite the official withdrawal of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger from the bloc on Wednesday, citizens and businesses from these countries will continue to enjoy key benefits of membership to maintain regional stability. ECOWAS assured that passports and identity cards bearing its logo will remain valid for travel within the region. Trade and economic activities will proceed under the existing ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme, allowing goods and services from 3 countries to move freely. The runway at Kano Airport has been temporarily closed for inspection and clearance after a MAX airplane suffered a tire burst while landing. The incident led to flight disruptions, though all passengers and crew were safely evacuated without injuries. After the incident, the airline announced on Twitter, on its official X account, that it was closed for proper inspection. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited says it uncovered 58 illegal refineries and 19 illegal pipeline connections in 1 week across the Niger Delta region. This is coming a week after the National Oil Company announced the discovery of 55 illegal refineries and 29 illegal pipeline connections. In a video documentary on the official YouTube channel of the NNPCL, it recorded a total of 159 incidents of oil theft in the region. On the foreign scene, President Donald Trump's administration says it was revoking protection from deportation for more than 600,000 Venezuelans in the United States as it highlights crime by a limited number of migrants. Former President Joe Biden had extended temporary protected status, or TPS, for another 18 months, just days before Trump returned to the White House last week, pledging to carry out a mass deportation of migrants. The United States has officially notified the Secretary General of its withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement effective January 27, 2026. UN spokesperson Stephen Dujarric announced this at a news briefing in New York. The historic accord reached by 193 countries in December 2015 to keep temperature rises below 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels was signed by the U.S. on April 22, 2026. President Donald Trump has offered buyout packages to almost all federal workers who do not want to return to the office, a major move designed to shrink the U.S. government. In an email sent to millions of employees, his administration told workers they had to decide by 6 February whether they wanted to be part of a deferred resignation program. If they agreed to leave their jobs by that date, the message said they would receive about 8 months of salary as a severance package. The Australian government has been told by Moscow that one of its citizens in Russia captivity is still alive. Oscar Jenkins, a 32-year-old teacher, was captured last year while fighting for Ukraine. Earlier, there were reports that Jenkins had been killed while in captivity, with the Australian government citing grave concerns for his welfare. In sports now, Nigerian striker Victor Boniface is set to trade European glory for the riches of the Saudi Pro League, as Al Nassr has reportedly sealed a blockbuster £60 million deal to lure the Bayer Leverkusen forward to the Middle East. This transfer, which escalated from whispers to an imminent reality in just 48 hours, is set to shake up both Bundesliga and Saudi football landscape. Victor Boniface was instrumental in Leverkusen's historic double triumph last season, delivering 21 goals and 10 assists in just 34 games. Football administrators and stakeholders have expressed optimism about Nigeria's chances following the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations draw, describing the group as favorable but urging caution against complacency. The Super Eagles were placed in Group C alongside Tunisia, Uganda and Tanzania. The president of the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, Ibrahim Musa Gusau, described the draw as fair, expressing optimism about the Super Eagles' ability to qualify from the group. And that's it on Global Television's news cycle. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, on StarTimes channel 276, and free to air on NigeConsat. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.